Three men fight and point to the sign as thousands in Bologna, Italy cheer. I hope I'll tell that story a bit better, because now these are my assorted thoughts on the March 21st, 2025 WWE Smackdown. Welcome to Silo Voice Wrestling on YouTube and the Silo Voice Wrestling podcast, wherever you get your podcasts. I'm Jason C. McLean. I'm recording this on Monday, March the 24th. It's around 5:15 p.m. Eastern Time. Now, wait, you say, isn't Raw on live? Yes, Raw is on live, but I've decided to watch it with my brother, my friend, at the regular time, 8 o'clock-ish. So I'm doing my best to stay off the internet and avoid any spoilers. And one of the best ways to avoid spoilers is to actually record a video about the last wrestling show I saw that I already prepared for. Okay. That said, yes, SmackDown was in Bologna, Italy on Friday, and we're going to go right to the end of the show. At the beginning of the end, we got the OTC, Original Tribal Chief, Only Tribal Chief, Your Tribal Chief, Roman Reigns and Paul Heyman. I love this because Roman asked Bologna to acknowledge him or acknowledge your tribal chief. He didn't say acknowledge me. I guess that's the new way he says it. And he hasn't really said that. I think he said that once since he came back as a massively over babyface. And just the crowd alone for Roman's entrance and Roman speaking was incredible. I mean, they were, he's so over anyways, and to hear him to see him just sort of stoke in this crowd was amazing. But of course, after he spoke, he didn't speak for too much longer because we got Seth Rollins coming out. Then soon after that, the guy with the theme song that has the name of a former leader of Italy that the current people probably aren't too happy with. We have CM Punk come out. I love how CM Punk said, Big Chief, Grimace, because Seth was dressed already in purple. No matter how serious it is, no matter how much they're about to get into a fight, Punk always has time to knock Seth for what he's wearing. I find that amusing. I find it really interesting that Punk mentioned the favor again without saying what it was and thanked Paul Heyman for delivering his tribal chief on a silver platter. And then he attacked Roman from behind when Roman was confused as to what was going on. Roman fought back. Rollins got into it. They ended up outside of the ring. Big melee back and forth at one point. Punk was able to point to the WrestleMania sign. Seth later pointed to the WrestleMania sign. And Roman eventually pointed to the WrestleMania sign as well, too. Then all three of them were scrapping and SmackDown went off the air. And shortly after SmackDown went off the air, WWE confirmed that, yes, all that pointing wasn't for nothing. We do have a triple threat match confirmed at WrestleMania. Roman Reigns versus CM Punk versus Seth Rollins. Now, I think we all knew this match was going to happen. And honestly, they should have announced it maybe after Madison Square Garden. They didn't, after what happened there. They didn't really need this whole back and forth sort of pull apart brawl after a couple of really short promos to establish the triple threat. But, you know, I'm glad they did it this way. And even though it wasn't needed, it was fun that they did it this way. It did create a bit of intrigue with Punk's line about, bringing your tribal chief to me on the silver platter. I think he's just trying to show some dissension in the ranks. And it was good to see all three of these in front of that crowd. I'm sure this crowd in Bologna really appreciated seeing three of the top stars in the company or in the industry, even for several generations, just scrap in front of them. They must have loved it. And then WWE's there to put on a show. So yeah, I'm glad they did it this way. But yes, of course, we have the triple threat match set. And I'm interested in this triple threat. I think this is a really good three-way match because it makes sense. Seth and Punk definitely have beef. They hate each other. They always fight. Seth and Roman have long-standing beef, and Roman and Punk, it's more over Paul Heyman and the mystery and the desire to be like in the main event and on top. So I'm definitely looking forward to this as a main event match. I could definitely see it main eventing night one of WrestleMania. And even though the outcome was kind of predictable and they were sort of telegraphing when it was like, okay, yes, they're pointing to the signs. They've all got to point to the signs. It would have been nice if they just announced it on the show, but they announced it after. We got the triple threat match, and this was a fun way to end an international SmackDown. Of course, my favorite match on the show, or possibly the best match on the show, was Jade Cargill versus Liv Morgan. I think this story was told very well. Obviously, Jade is still not that experienced, so I think Liv was definitely leading the match. But of course, I love the storytelling where Liv and Raquel at one point were just going to walk out and Jade pulls them back. They hinted that Raquel might be doing some cheating. Of course, it was Naomi who would do the cheating. When Raquel was distracting the ref, she took one of the tag team championship belts, hit Jade. Liv took advantage of it, got the victory. And we left with Naomi beating up Jade, getting her back for the 2 times Jade attacked her. Of course, that was getting Naomi back for the time that she attacked Jade, threw her onto the roof of a car. Anyways, obviously, we were going to bring this story back into it because I'm pretty sure we're going Jade Cargill, Naomi at WrestleMania. But I really like the way that they were able to give Liv a victory, because I'm becoming a really big Liv fan. I don't, just their performance is great. I'm still Sami Zayn, CM Punk, people with that, but Liv and Dom, just amazing heels. And I think after the year Liv's had, she deserves a spot at WrestleMania. And now she has a victory over Jade Cargill, and Cargill doesn't look bad because she was cheated by Naomi. I think, is this the first pinfall victory that Jade Cargill suffered since she came to the WWE? It was a pinfall loss, I think, possibly. And of course, yeah, give it to Liv. Make it make sense because of Naomi. But this was a really entertaining match with the right result to further both the Jade and Naomi story, and it gives Liv all the more reason to somehow be involved in the match in WrestleMania 2. Enjoyed this segment of the show. Randy Orton started things off with a massive crowd pop, but before he could say anything, Kevin Owens came out and said, "Hey, could we be friends? You know, maybe we should tag team together. I didn't mean what I did to you. I shouldn't have packaged pile driver to you, but I meant what I did to Cody and to Sami Zayn." And Orton, of course, says, "No, we should fight instead." And the match that we pretty much had confirmed was happening at Elimination Chamber is now official for WrestleMania. Randy Orton versus Kevin Owens. It doesn't say any stipulation. I think maybe street fight might be a good stipulation, or I don't think you want to put these guys in the cell because I don't know how long the match is going to be. It's going to be a fun match, though. But I also like the fact that Orton made being injured make sense. It's character development, and this ultimately might lead to an Orton heel turn on Cody at some point in the future. When Kevin Owens gave him the package pile driver, he woke up the voices in Randy Orton's head. You know, I got voices in my head. Now Randy's listening to them, and the crowd is loving it now. If he ends up turning on Cody later, I don't know if they're going to love that, but we'll see. This was definitely a match we all knew was coming. This was a pretty essential but basic setup for it, and it was fun to do it in front of such a hot crowd. I like the start of the show, and I'm glad this match is confirmed for Mania. I'm not as thrilled with the result of the Braun Strowman Jacob Fatu match. I mean, the match was good, but seeing as the winner gets a match against LA Knight for the United States Championship, I was really hoping that match would be at WrestleMania and the winner would be Jacob Fatu. But of course, shortly before the end of the match, they mentioned that it was going to be next week on SmackDown. Then I'm like, okay, fine. I think Braun's somehow going to win this, but how's he going to win this? And of course, disqualification because Tama Tonga and ultimately Solo Sikoa attacked Braun in front of the referee, causing the DQ. LA Knight came in for the save, and then we got a great bit backstage with Fatu really upset with Solo Sikoa. Now, I was thinking having the winner of this match get LA Knight at WrestleMania and Fatu winning would have been perfect because there definitely would have been enough time to build this, and that's a match I definitely want to see at WrestleMania. But no, I guess maybe they're building Fatu solo. I'm not sure. Maybe they have to turn Fatu babyface first, or maybe there's going to be some sort of interference in the Strowman. I hope they're not going Fatu Strowman again at Mania. I really want to see Jacob Fatu in a major match at WrestleMania, potentially against LA Knight, maybe against Solo. We'll see where it goes, but I think they missed an opportunity here. But again, Jason trusts the booking. They might have something better in mind. Piper Niven versus Zelina Vega was a fun match. Both look great. I'm surprised Piper won, though. I mean, it makes sense, but I'm glad that they're not just using Piper as the one that everyone beats before getting a match with Chelsea Green. Maybe there's going to be another match with Piper and Zelina will win that one, and then she'll have to go through Alba Fire and eventually, because I think Zelina versus Chelsea would be a good WrestleMania match for the title, but especially establishing the whole secret Hervis. I hope they at least keep the title on Chelsea until Mania. Yeah, it's good because if Zelina is the one who's going to take the title, it'll at least be at Mania at this rate. And I think they should at least keep the title on Chelsea until Mania, because I want the big Mania entrance with the secret Hervis and everything. And that really works a lot better if she's still the United States champion. If she's not, then are they still protecting their Madam Champion, Madam President? I don't know. This kind of surprised me, but I think I know where they're going with it. So, yeah, keep up the secret Hervis. It's one of the coolest little comedic bits they've had in WWE in a while. And if it's Zelina versus Chelsea at Mania for the title, that's great. But no matter what, let's get Chelsea Green as U.S. champion on the WrestleMania card. Damian Priest and Jimmy Uso versus Drew McIntyre and Shinsuke Nakamura was an odd pairing for a tag team match, but it started off fast. It was a good match, but of course the main purpose behind it was to further the Drew Damian storyline, showing that Drew's mercilessly going to keep attacking him, trying to destroy him. I think these guys might have a banger match at WrestleMania, and a lot of the crowd being into it at the start depends on the build, and they do need to do a bit more for the build. So while these tag team matches seem kind of random, I think ultimately it's important to get them both on the show to build heat for that fight. I'm not sure what the storyline purpose of giving Los Garza a match against the Street Profits, the new tag team champions, was. We all knew that Los Garza was not going to win, and it was, of course, a non-title match. And if it was to give the Street Profits a win, well, I mean, I think they're probably going to get a win next week against Pretty Deadly. Sorry, Pretty Deadly fans, I'm one of them. But I think if anyone else wins it, it's going to be at WrestleMania. I'm pretty sure Street Profits are keeping the belts until then. So this match was kind of random, but it was also a something nice to give to the crowd. It was a fun match. It was a good match to watch, and I'm sure Bologna definitely appreciated seeing it. Of course, when this match was on, they were just excited for Roman Reigns. And Los Garza, I mean, they're okay, but I was definitely more interested in the Street Profits and Pretty Deadly next week, and the build up with the sort of backstage segment with Pretty Deadly and DIY. Pretty Deadly, I think, becoming baby faces, saying no, no boy, we're not going to help you out, and even if you help us out, who knows? Maybe DIY is going to interfere next week and screw over Pretty Deadly. Don't know. We have Motor City Machine Guns. This scene is still very hot. Los Garza is kind of the weak link in this chain, but we'll see where that goes. Still, it was a fun match and an interesting segment to set up for next week in London, where I'm pretty sure Pretty Deadly are going to be the hometown favorites. And these were my assorted thoughts on the March 21st, 2025 WWE Smackdown. Smackdown from Bologna, Italy. I'm loving these European shows. These crowds are great. Also nice it comes on in the afternoon, even though I'm not watching it this afternoon. I'm going to watch it tonight. Anyways, did you agree with my takes, my assorted thoughts? Let me know in the comments. Follow at Silo Voice Wrestling on Facebook and Instagram, at Silo Wrestling on X, and me at Jason C. McLean on X and Instagram. And of course, please make sure you like, share, subscribe, and ring that bell for notifications to get all my wrestling hot takes, cold takes, simmering takes, wrestling opinion pieces, WWE Premium Live Event prediction and review videos, assorted thoughts on Raw and SmackDown, and we're going to have some other fun stuff coming out in the next little while. I have some interesting ideas. We're going to see how that goes. Well, I'll catch you next time for my assorted thoughts on Raw, unless I get something out before that. Don't think I will, because Raw, I'm going to watch it tonight. For Silo Voice Studios in Montreal, I'm Jason C. McLean.